Hello, and welcome to Sprint Innovate 2024 Design Thinking Training. My name is Al McLeod. I usually do this training with Leanne Jones, who is my partner in crime in this event. Leanne is an innovation coach and a corporate entrepreneur. She's a digital product management specialist at Payworks, and that's what she's doing right now, is creating great products at Payworks. I'm going to be doing this today by myself. So I'm Al McLeod. I'm a retired IT executive. I do a lot of collaboration with local academic institutions. I'm a startup advisor, trainer, mentor, and I work with an organization called called Idea Miners, where I'm a co-founder of the startup. Here's the goals for today. I'm going to provide an overview of innovation and design thinking. Then I'm going to use a case study-based approach to train you in design thinking in a very short period of time. 45 minutes, 50 minutes is a very brief period to learn design thinking. But that's one of the goals of this session is not only we're going to teach you design thinking, but you're going to get into it in the next couple of days and use it. So hopefully you'll learn more as you build. Next, we'll provide some guidance for the tools and guidance in a 48-hour challenge. And finally, pitch training. So we'll do an example pitch based on this case study, and then do also a small presentation on pitch training 101 by Matt Scobrook, a friend of mine. So let's talk about innovating using design thinking first. So innovation happens at the intersection of these three lenses: desirability, or do customers want it, need it, also known as the human-centered lens. Can we do it, which is feasibility, the technology lens, and viability, should we do it, which is the business lens. And really, by should we do it, what we mean is, can we make money at it? And so this design thinking says to go at it through the human lens and make sure that we have customers who are going to love what we do. So here's the design thinking methodology. And it starts with a wicked problem. And a wicked problem is important because there's no point in using design thinking on simple problems that we can just use normal linear thinking techniques to figure out what to do. Wicked problems are ones that are very difficult to figure out. And here at the end is implementation and releasing the product to the world. In the middle is two stages: the problem stage and the solution stage. And within there's 5 steps to the process. Within the problem stage, there are empathy and define. In the solution stage, there's ideate, prototype, and test. This tagline, don't fall in love with the solution, fall in love with the problem, is very important. And what it means is don't come into a design thinking project, come in here thinking you already know what you're doing. I already know the answer to this based on this wicked problem I heard, and start building a prototype. You could do it, but it's not recommended. Fall in love with the problem means really get inside your customer's head and understand what they really need, and then you won't be guessing. You'll actually have a pretty good idea of what they want. And in a defined stage, once you get through the empathy stage, where what you really do is you listen to your customer, observe them, and you really get a good understanding of what this customer needs. And you do research into the industry as well to understand the problem area, all those kind of things. Define stage, you take all that information you develop here and you define it down into a problem statement that you can do, that you can solve for the particular customer that you've defined here. The next stage is to come up with ideas to solve that problem. And this is literally as many ideas as you can. The more, the better. And then you take all those ideas that you come up with and you pick a couple, even one, develop a prototype. And during your prototype phase, you're still learning, you're building. And as you're building, you're coming up with new ideas. And then you're testing with users and iterating. The important thing is this looks like a linear process. It's not. I recommend that, especially for people who are new to design thinking, make sure that you spend your time here, the proper time in the problem stage, but then you can iterate, go back from test to ideate, or even go back to empathy, and so it is an iterative process. This is the one of the most successful design thinking projects out there. It's talked about a lot, but I'll share it with you here. So the Bank of America to Keep the Change program. So in 2004, Bank of America hired design agency IDEO to boost their enrollment numbers. They asked, how might we encourage new customers to open bank accounts? So IDEO put together a team with the bank and they started talking to future and current bank customers. They found that one woman rounded up in her checkbook for easier calculations and a buffer. They found out the single mothers struggle with saving, they had nothing to put aside, and that even a small amount saved is good, provided a financial buffer. Even hundreds of dollars was enough to help them manage their financial security. After all this work, in the define stage, they reframed the problem from how might we encourage new customers to open bank accounts to how might we help families save money. So then IDEO put together a diverse team of bank product managers and finance experts, software engineers, operations people. They had a bunch of brainstorming sessions, came up with 80 product ideas, but one that they all really liked. And that was called the Keep the Change program. So they created a cartoon video of the program and tested it in an online survey with 1,600 participants. The way the program works is if you have a bank account with them, you get a debit card attached to a bank account. When you buy a coffee for $2.30, it charges your debit card $3. The 70 cents and change is moved to a different account, a savings account, where, and you leave it alone. At the end of the year, you'll have some hundreds of dollars in your savings account because of all the change that goes in. So the Keep the Change program quickly took off. The first year attracted 2 million customers. It's since grown to over 12 million people who have saved a total of $2 billion. 3 in 5 new Bank of America customers choose to enroll in the program with 99% program retention, which is pretty unheard of. You've seen this program with things like social enterprises these days, where they ask you to donate to charity, donate your change to charity, things like that. So it's a really good idea. It's been copied everywhere. So now let's look at our case study. The first thing we'll do is go in and look at the problem space. So empathize and define. So when we look at the empathy stage here, we first need to look at what the problem is. In our case study is with Vetter, who makes veterinary practice software. The question they asked us is, how might we convert pet owners to paying customers? So the first step is to empathize, and you want to understand what customers care about, identify the real customer problem to solve, and get rid of any assumptions you have that could stifle innovation and consider all possibilities for customers and their needs. You want to step into the customer's shoes to feel their experience, observe and engage, watch and listen, and then do a bunch of secondary research as well. Learn the broader context and perspectives through internet, social media, AI research, all those different techniques. Get an understanding of the stakeholders and systems that could be affected. Ask what recent innovations have happened in this area or other adjacent ones, and look at challenges and solutions in this area. And then get facts and figures you need to understand the context of the challenge. So here's some of our secondary research insights. We found that there's over 15,000 vets in 3,800 practices across Canada and 5 veterinary colleges across Canada, none in Manitoba. We found out that the number of dogs increased from 7.7 to 7.9 million, and the number of cats increased from 8.1 to 8.5 million cats last year. And the number of Canadian households went from, with at least one pet, went from 56% to 60%. So the number of pets is increasing. We found out that 98% of pet owners say their pets improve their quality of life, and 94% of pets consider their pet a family member. Of pet owners, I should say, consider their pets a family member. We found this research that talks about that interacting with animals has been shown to decrease levels of cortisol and lower blood pressure. We also found out it can reduce loneliness, increase feelings of social support, and boost your mood. But there's a crisis out there, and the crisis is with these more pets, we have a shortage of vets. So veterinarians are retiring in higher numbers than ever before. But the problem is there's less people enrolling in the veterinary colleges. So this has created this crisis that makes it more difficult for people to get pet healthcare. So then we talked to Vetter, our sponsor, and we found out that Vetter is used by both pet owners and community vets, but it's really only used to confirm appointments that they make by phone for pet owners. So they don't pay anything for using the app. And community veterinarians use Vetter in their practice. They like the software, but they see limited value using it with customers. And many vets aren't that digitally savvy in their business, by the way. So here's some other insights we got from Vetter. The global veterinary services market is 142 billion in 2023, expected to grow to 193 billion in 2027. We didn't realize it was that high. Vetter's growth has slowed down in recent years, though, even though the market is increasing. So they're looking for growth opportunities. Vetter has the highest market share amongst vets in Canada and very high customer sat. Vetter has an excellent IT team, and their Vetter app has a full pet medical history in the database, a full set of application program interfaces to allow you to connect to the database, and it's already cloud-based. And Vetter's mission, one of their visions, is to improve overall pet health. So our sponsor also gave us these design principles. So these are things that during the project we should think about and have in our minds as we're doing our work. They want us to provide significant value for pet owners, pave the way for other services. They don't want us to disintermediate vets and pet owners. They don't want us to step in and interrupt the work that they do together. They want to support it. They want to make vet practices more digital, efficient, and effective. And they want to create a pet owner community if possible. And they're looking for AI opportunities with our rich Vetter data. So then we interviewed some pet owners. And what we want to do is listen more than we talk. You want to ask open-ended questions so that you're trying to not get a yes or no answer. You're trying to get a story or some other insight from it. Use the 5 whys technique. So if you ask a question, you get a short answer. Ask why again. Keep going on the why until you feel like you've got to the root of the question. Set up your roles before the interview and dump your interview notes using the tool we'll provide you. So here's how you do an interview. Choose your interview roles before, have people doing journey maps or capturing emotions or capturing any numbers through it. Have people have specific roles. And what you want to do is you want to do a warm up with them, get to know them a little bit. Then set the context for the interview, tell them why they're there and what you're doing, what your project's about. Then you want to collect some demographics so that you can understand what customer segment they're in. Explore their worldview for 15 minutes. This is the bulk of the interview. This is where you're actually trying to get stories and insights out of them with open-ended questions. And finally, wrap up. Thank them for their time, ask including questions. So we started planning our interviews. We held interviews with pet owners at various stages of the pet ownership journey. Those with older pets, pet owners who adopted pets from shelters, first-time pet owners planning to get a pet soon, pet owners at various levels of experience with pets, pet owners with multiple pets, and serial pet owners, and finally, people with service animals. So here's some of the kind of questions that we asked, these open-ended questions. We asked them to tell us about our pet. What does she mean to your family? If they have a young pet, we asked them to tell us about any healthcare experiences they've had so far and what the first year was like having a pet. And what would you do differently if you could and why? For first-time pet owners, we asked them about any concerns they had about getting a pet. For pet owners with older pets, we asked them about their concerns, especially with healthcare. And for experienced serial pet owners, we asked what advice they give a first-time pet owner. We asked everyone to tell us a time about when your pet was very sick and you took her to the vet, what happened, just to get feedback on how the vets work with them. We asked what sources to use for pet healthcare information, and do you have any concerns about the pet health info you're able to get? We asked about them, how they work with their vet and what works well, what can be improved. We asked if they're part of any communities and what they're looking for in that. And we asked if there's anything we didn't ask but should have. And finally, we asked for anybody else we could interview and also if they'd be willing to look at the prototype when we're ready. So this is what the interview dump tool looks like. And you can see it's got these 4 categories. So we interviewed pet owners first. We had influences. So what influences them? What tasks and goals are they trying to perform? What do they think and feel? And this is interesting. You have to really listen closely with empathy to get that. And finally, what pains are they trying to avoid? So the influences are social media and internet sources, but they really don't know what to trust. And the veterinarian, but they really don't get much time for the veterinarians. They're trying to provide a better life, quality of life for an aging dog, understand pet's medical situation, want to provide a great life for a new pet. They want to be a knowledgeable, responsible pet owner, and they're trying not to go broke due to expensive pet care. Thinks and feels. Some people said that they made a lot of mistakes in the early days with their pet. Second time pet owners said they'd like to do a better job the second time. There has to be a better, more modern way for pet care. We heard that a lot from people. We love our vet, but they're a small team with limited resources. We heard that a few times. And first time pet owners feeling overwhelmed and anxious. We heard that quite a bit. And what are the pains they're trying to avoid? Well, new pet owners, they're struggling with where to get guidance. The lack of veterinary specialists for complex or rare illnesses is a real challenge. Very hard to get good information in the pet healthcare system. And the dog is older, it's hard to get good medical care. So lots of challenges. Then we talked to veterinarians who are vetter customers. And not surprising, they had the normal kind of influences. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to keep up with all the responsibilities of running a small business and being a medical professional and running a successful veterinary practice during this challenging time post-COVID. They said what are the thoughts and feelings they had? They'd love to run a digital practice. We could be so much more efficient. They wish that pet owners would listen to them about preventative health care. Many new pet owners don't really understand what they're getting into. And the first 6 months sets a foundation for a successful pet parent journey. That was a very important piece of information for us. We heard that from a couple of vets. It's really tough. We have a small team with limited resources, and Reddit and Facebook aren't recommended veterinary health information channels. I love that one. So what are the pains they're trying to avoid? Customers struggle with veterinary costs. That's a real challenge for the veterinarians. And there's a vet shortage, as we said, so that a lot of competition for employees. The lack of a digital platform makes for inefficient processes with customers, lots of time wasted, and not enough time with customers to be able to talk to them about and give them advice. So what we did is we looked into various Reddit and Facebook groups. We signed up for a bunch of them and we started interacting with them to get information. And what we found was there's so much information that really it's a dumpster fire. It's the best way I can describe it. Both Reddit and Facebook, their groups. Maybe a lot of the people are well-meaning, but who knows? I know there's a lot of misinformation shared there, and a lot of really bad information. So in summary, Reddit and Facebook groups aren't recommended of veterinary health information channels, as the vet said. So according to Humane Canada, Canadian shelters took in over 100,000 cats and dogs in 2019. As veterinarians said, most pet owners don't understand the level of responsibility they're taking on. But pets being turned into shelters is only the tip of the iceberg, because even for those who aren't turned into shelters, a lot of the pet owners end up very disappointed because their pets end up ill or not socialized properly or have other serious issues because of mistakes they've made. CTV News in August reported there was a crisis situation in Winnipeg with more pets being surrendered. And that's not the only city in Canada where this is happening, by the way. It's happening across Canada. So what are the top reasons, 8 reasons why people give up their pets? Well, the first one is time factor. People have not thought through and they don't really know because they've never had a dog, especially for people who've never had a dog, they don't understand how much time it's going to take them. And for people who really end up loving pets, time isn't really an issue for them. But for a lot of people, the time factor is a big deal. It's too much time for them to spend with the pet. A lack of experience is just that, as the vet said, they don't know what they're getting into and they get overwhelmed and they just give the pet up. Changed life situation is, you get married, you have kids, you move, you change jobs, whatever it is. There was something there that has changed your situation and you end up not being able to, or not feeling like you can support your pet. Animal health and age, the older pets get, the more they cost because of healthcare. And so often this catches up to people, especially if they made mistakes in the early days and their pets get ill health early, then they end up with a lot of problems and they end up giving up pets. Boredom and disinterest just means you made the mistake and you should never purchase a pet, but that happens. People get, especially like during COVID time, people were just getting pets because it's what people were doing. Unwanted litters is if people don't spay and neuter their pets, and then they don't properly look after their pets. Behavioral issues is if you have challenges, either you get a pet that later in life who has already behavioral issues, or you don't probably properly socialize your pet. And financial factor is just that you haven't figured out that the pet's going to cost a lot of money to have. So those are the top 8 reasons. So now we're finished the empathy step. So we observed and interviewed a diverse group of pet owners for pet stories and insights. We interviewed veterinarians. We got a lot of insights into veterinary challenges, their view on pet owner pains, and the state of the industry. We talked to our Vetter project sponsor for information on the Vetter company, the industry, the Vetter app, and the design principles for the project. And we now know why this problem is important because of these crises that's going on in the industry. From a research perspective, we also discovered a number of industry issues affecting vets and pet owners and participated in Facebook and Reddit social media groups to understand better some of the challenges that pet owners were having. So now we're in the define stage. And why do you want to define? You want to know more about the problem so you can focus on the solution. And you want to focus on the human parts of the problem, not just the business pieces, the human pieces. You want to deeply understand the problem customers have. You want to figure out who your ideal customers are and what they want, and look at customers' unmet needs. So what we did was, based on the work we'd done, we came up with this customer persona of an experienced pet owners, because we saw that inexperienced pet owners had this huge issue about really being concerned about not knowing what to do, being concerned about having a pet. So this is featured pet owner Sylvia. She's an extreme user because not only is she a new pet owner, she hasn't got her pet yet, but she will be. The idea is that she's also a very tech savvy person and young enough that she's not afraid of change, and she really wants to have a great digital experience. So her goals are to have a happy, and healthy pet, to be a knowledgeable and responsible pet owner, developing great habits with her pet and having great experiences together. Her pain points are concerned about successfully integrating a pet into her busy life, anxious about the new responsibilities. She knows she has a lot to learn, but where can she go for guidance and support? A lack of digital services and the cost of digital pet health care, pet health care, I should say. So what we did was we took all this information and then we decided, well, let's understand what people have to do when they're bringing a new pet into their lives. And we actually had some people on our team that were pet owners as well. I own a pet, for example. And so we actually got together with customers again and really looked through all our information. And we came up with this journey map, the first 12 months. And this is about things like, what do we have to do? We have to do research and things like, should we get a pet? What options do we have? Where do we get pets from? So research, select a pet, find a vet, prepare your home, bring your pet home. So all of these steps that had to be done. And we then said, what are all the pieces in each step? So to find a vet, there's a whole bunch of information you really should do to do it right. So we took all this information we put together from this mind map, and what we did was we created this journey. So pets generally live, especially cats and dogs, live somewhere between 10 to 20 years. 20 years is on the high side, but 10 to 20 years. So that first 6 months is the foundation for that journey. And here's some of the steps we talked about: research, pick a pet, find a vet, prepare your home, bring your pet home, initial vet appointment, create a support team, train and socialize, healthy habits, and the next 6 months. And then what we did was we said, so what are some of the things you have to do at each of the steps? So when you're doing research, make sure you know, why are you getting a pet? Should you get a pet? Are you going to get bored? What kind of time do you have? Do you get it from a breeder or a shelter versus a rescue or a foster? Do you match your pet to your lifestyle? What kind of space do you have? What kind of budget do you have? Estimate your costs. And pick a pet. And when you're picking a pet, select the kind of pet and where to get her. Do some breed research, consider pet insurance, do that math. You want to find a vet next, look at the skill and hours, location, services, the reputation, tech savvy, lots and lots of different things. These are just examples. This is not all of the stuff, by the way. And prepare a home. You're going to do a pet, make your house pet proof and your yard pet proof, crate and food. And each of those decisions, by the way, you've got to do a lot of work to do the research to come up with the decisions. And then we just filled out the whole thing. And when we showed this back to some of the customers that we talked to earlier, it really hit home with them. They said, "Yeah, that's the kind of thing we're concerned about," and they really liked this view. So then what we did is we took all this information we had and we consolidated it and we captured the insights, like what questions we had, research observations, and then we grouped it and clustered into themes. And then what we do is we write a problem statement from our insights. So here's some of the insights. So for example, we already talked about second time pet owners. We'd like to do a better job. All those things we found out during our questioning. And then we cluster them into themes, some of our research we found, and then info and access, digital services, pet health concerns, and then experienced pet owners. So these are just 5 different categories of information. And then as a team, we went through them all, did a bunch of work, really, really thought about it a lot, and came up with this problem statement. So this is what they call a point of view statement. So this is our imaginary persona, what she would say. So inexperienced pet owners like Sylvia need a way to get effective digital services, guidance, and support because she wants to provide the best quality of life for her new pet. So that's her point of view. So then what we do is we then write a new how might we statement based on all this work we've done. So the new how might we question is how might we provide trusted information and digital services to guide and support inexperienced pet owners so they can live their best life with their pets. So the important thing is people like Sylvia need this, and we're looking at trusted information. She needs digital services and she needs that guidance and support because she's inexperienced. So let's summarize the define step. We pulled all our research and insights together. We clustered them. We looked at inexperienced pet owners is our customer segment with a problem we're solving. We developed a persona, Sylvia, to represent the ideal target customer. It aligns with Vetter's overall mission to improve pet health and what we heard from vets who would like to see pet owners be better educated. Vets and experienced pet owners identified the first 6 months of pet ownership as a critical foundation for success. So we explored the first 6 months of pet ownership. We then developed a journey map to provide examples of the jobs to be done and many decisions to be made. And we redefined the problem from the point of view of the ideal customer. So now let's look at the solution space. We've got our new problem statement and let's ideate, prototype, and test. So here we go. We've got our new, used to be convert pet owners to paying customers. And the way we would do that is by providing trusted information and digital services to guide and support inexperienced pet owners so they can live their best life with their pets. So there you go. So now we're going to ideate. So we're going to transition from learning about the problem in the empathize and define stage to now we're starting to build solutions. So we're going to think beyond. We're not going to come up with simple ideas. We're going to come up with nice big ideas. We're going to build on the idea of others. We're going to remove constraints. If people say we've tried that before, we're going to blow right through that. We're going to brainstorm ways to solve the unmet needs of our customer. We're going to do it fast and not focused on quality or feasibility. We're going to discuss ideas, clarify, and evaluate them. And so here's our first ideation tool. It's called Crazy Eights. Crazy Eights, you take a piece of paper, you divide it in 8 pieces. Somebody's a facilitator, they put a minute on the clock. You spend 8 minutes, but each time she puts a minute on the clock, you draw a solution or an idea. First minute, chat function. Second one, wellness wizard. And after 8 minutes, you end up with 8 ideas. You can also change it so that you could take the same idea and you could actually make it better, enhance it. But let's say 5 people doing this, you could come up with as many as 40 ideas. Okay, so now let's talk about group mind mapping. So group mind mapping is one of my favorite exercises. I think it's really, really a terrific exercise. So the question is, how might we provide trusted information and digital services to guide and support inexperienced pet owners so they can live their best life with their pets? So that's your opportunity in the middle of the page. And then what we do is we come up with preliminary ideas or areas. I call them actually kind of idea nodes. So this is your, spend a minute or two doing this. So the whole team says, okay, wellness advice. about digital health services, an e-store, finance. And so come up with all these different level 1 ideas. The next step is to actually blow out those with much more ideas. So one at a time, take journey guidance. What does that mean? Well, journey-based information and guidance, maybe using gamification. You make it AI-based. Use scientific research, for example, from veterinarians and vet colleges. Create a how-to YouTube channel on dental care, grooming, things like that. And also do human training and pet training, both of those. So that's some of the kinds of things. Wellness advice, prevention, longevity score, AI-based, breed, gender, and age. So all sorts of different ideas, as you can see. And it all comes from coming up with that first level idea and then coming up with ideas around that idea. Then what you can do is you can come up with new ideas by using these, using just buttons and saying, oh, okay, so let's come up with some ideas across different nodes. So we have the convenience node here, and we have digital health services. And so we said, okay, let's put a button here, chat, appointments, telepet health, chat, appointments, telepet health. Let's combine that with mobile services and nurse practitioners. So that's interesting, right? So now you have telepath health or video services, a nurse practitioner who can do many of the things a veterinarian can do just as well. And the idea of this, you're at home and you're able to do this using chat and vet and video services with a nurse practitioner. So just one quick idea, combining different nodes. Another ideation technique is called individual brainwriting. So in individual brainwriting, what you do is you give everybody a couple minutes, let's say 5 minutes, to come up with as many ideas as they can on their own, quietly, write them out. So here I've come up with 5 ideas and I've written them all out. What you do after your 7 minutes or 5 minutes, or whatever, how much time you give the person, they take their ideas and hand them to the next person, and they take the other person's ideas, and then you continue to build off those ideas. You take the person's ideas you've gotten and you start to build off of them. It's a great way to do things, and it really, really is good for people who are introverts, for example, because they can participate without feeling like they have to compete for voice. And then group brainstorming, I'm sure you've all heard of brainstorming. These are IDEO's rules of brainstorming. Brainstorming gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes. And the reason it gets a bad rap is that if it's not run properly, if it's not facilitated properly, it can come up with less than optimal results. So here it goes. So here's some of the rules. Defer judgment. In other words, if somebody gives you an idea, if someone says an idea, don't jump on that idea and say that's a bad idea or we've done that, anything like that. Accept the idea, congratulate them for their idea, and even try to build on that idea. Build on the ideas of others, as I said. Try to use and versus but. Stay focused on the topic. Have one conversation at a time. Visual helps. Drawing pictures helps, and go for quantity. Here's an example. This is IDEO, who is the premier design thinking consultants.
All right, team. Thanks for coming for a brainstorm today. We have a really interesting topic. The local zoo, the visitors are down 20%. So how might we boost the number of visitors to the zoo? This is a serious problem for them. They want to stay open. They need more funding, all this kind of good stuff. So let's spend a few moments now first and get a few ideas down. Remember, we're going for quantity. Let's see how many ideas we can get. And also, there's so many good ideas out there. Let's push ourselves, try to get closer to the ridiculous. That might be brilliant. All right, so I'll start us off. I had a date night. So, and you might hang out with the animals that are in action, if you know what I mean. All right, what else? What else you got? Oh yeah, what do you got?
What if we do a dress up like your favorite animal day? So it's like a costume theme thing.
Very cool.
What about zoo pop-up at places that kids frequent, the mall, school, parks?
Home Depot I know has programs for little kids to build birdhouses and stuff like that. So it could be all these different crafts, but they're sort of animal lessons, so
Love
kids
it,
learn.
love
And
it. I have a night camping, so you get to camp overnight there. So let's get a 5 or 10 more.
So I figure loyalty cards work for airlines and for burritos, so why not have it work for the zoo?
Building off the whole celebrity thing, what if like we pretend that animals are celebrities and we give out like a gossip magazine as an advertisement?
So for an hour every day, they vacate the cages, and you get to go swing on the bars and everything that the monkeys have. So it's zoo turn playground.
That's awesome.
What we'll do next is we'll look at these and look for some themes and cluster a couple. And then I think we should even prototype one or two of these and then take them.
So that's a great example of brainstorming with their zoo idea. And the idea is that you give people some time on their own to come up with ideas, even draw them out. And then you calling them, the facilitator calls them one by one to share their idea. And you can, like I said, celebrate the ideas, have some fun with it. And feel free that you can actually add to those ideas. It's very important. So we did our great group brainstorming. We came up with lots of ideas, some wild ones. So nurse practitioner visit, adopt and foster app, a telepet health, a meds tracker, a planner, an ordering assistant, keep the change program for insurance premiums to try to help people save for their insurance, pet service locator, so if you want to try to find a dog walker or something like that. And then we had some wilder ones, like for example, a vet clinic digital loan program. So could we give loans to some veterinarians who want to upgrade their software and have more of a digital platform? Or what if we want to create a veterinary medicine industry technology lab and invite some of the more digital veterinarians to work with us, the more tech savvy ones? Anyway, just a lot of different ideas that we have here. So then what we do is we cluster them. So there's 5 categories we came up with: information, finances, e-store, digital services, and community. And so then what we do is we vote on them. So everybody gets these little buttons, and you get 2 each, and you vote on them. And then the next step is to actually identify which ones are the ones that we're going to move ahead with. So in our case, information and digital services are the 2 we're going to focus on first. Because of some of the things we've been asked to do by Vetter, we're still going to keep our eye on finances, e-store, and community, but we're not going to spend nearly as much time on them as we are going to on information and digital services. So here's what we came up with: Vetter's digital health, pet digital health platform. So here you've got pet owners, and they would be using this new app called FurLife, which is our new app to provide a lot of these new services like guide and wellness apps, video vet communications, consultations, chat, medical information, 24/7 on call, regular vet services, digital appointment booking, community, and much more. Then the community veterinarians, they will get their back office upgraded, so they have a completely digital practice and workflows with customers, chat and telepet health, emergency services, booking, mobile services, advice, guidance, pharmacy services, all those kind of things. And the our Vetter team will be the ones that build out this platform based off of our current Vetter platform. They'll be adding these new components and upgrading the components. The other thing they'll be doing is developing content, by the way. So one of the things we'll need to do is implement AI. There's a number of components that require AI, and also a lot more content. So that's why the Vetter teams, who luckily we have a really good IT team, there'll be a lot of pressure put on them. So next thing we did is we developed this concept card. So the concept is a digital guidance and support for pet owners, a new digital platform, and the FurLife mobile app, I should say. So the problem being solved is inexperienced pet owners are often anxious and concerned about making a 10 to 20-year life decision. But the tech-savvy ones are looking for digital solutions to the problem of successfully integrating a new companion into their life and having the best possible information to make the dozens of decisions they'll be faced with over the next 10 to 20 years. Dozens and dozens, actually. We believe this app may also appeal to later stage pet owners based on our research with some discussions with some pet owners. Stakeholders are inexperienced pet owners, other pet owners, community veterinarians, and veterinary colleges. So we're going to use the best science-based health and wellness data from applying AI to our rich volumes of real pet health data that we've captured, and the best research from Canada's 5 regional veterinary colleges, into apps to provide detailed guidance to pet owners on topics like finding the right pet for your lifestyle, the traits of your specific pet based on their genetics, longevity score based on height, weight, diet, exercise, and vet visits, and also community forums will also be available. So here's our ideation step summary. We leveraged a diverse group of people from various disciplines like ops and IT and customer service, and we pushed them to think out of the box. The best way to get good ideas is to have lots of them. I also made sure we kept things going and followed the idea rules for effective brainstorming. We used multiple ideation tools and techniques in order to get a lot of ideas, including some wild ones. We combined individual ideation with group ideation to give everyone time to come up with ideas on their own. We built on initial ideas and combined them into bigger ones, and we voted on which ideas would best solve the customer problem. So next step is the prototype. Here's where we're going to learn if the solution works with minimal effort and cost. That's why we're building the prototype. We're going to build to think and generate new ideas as we're building. We're going to be able to explain complex interactions much better than verbally and learn how to respond to how others respond to your ideas. And it gives us a chance to start experimenting with a solution, get real feedback, and iterate and update based on what we learn. So prototypes can be paper, like sketches or models, be new journey maps, click-through prototypes or wireframes or storyboards, a product description feature sheet maybe, or even a skit. We've had people do great skits, anything that explains the idea. Here's an example of a storyboard. So here's our customer, a new pet owner. She's excited about getting her new pet, but she's very anxious. Her friend shows her the FurLife app, has tons of support. So she gets it and she's surprised how much information, how to pick the right pet, finding a vet. She's just really happy with it. And so now she's shopping for supplies for her new pet, and she's very happy with her app and meeting her vet for the first time with her new dog. And then finally experiencing the benefit here on a sunny day, frolicking in the grass with her new pet. So here's what the prototype looks like. So it is a mobile app. Some of the services are, for example, guide. And what the purpose of the guide is, it's those steps in the first 6 months or a year, and it'll even or extend to the life of your pet. But the idea is you can quickly go and do research before you buy a pet, and help you pick a pet, prepare your home, find a vet, bring your pet home, all of the other things that we talked about. It's also got something called the Wellness Wizard. A Wellness Wizard will talk about things like breed traits you have. So, for example, is your pet prone to certain kinds of injuries, genetic information about your pet, risk factors for your breed, health history, longevity score details. So this is based on the health of your pet, weight, height, things like that, and a wellness routine for your pet as well. Here's an example. Excuse me. So let's say you had a Chorky. Chorky is a Chihuahua Yorkie mix. So it's a small dog. It's prone to knee issues. Could be a surgery risk. Could be a couple $1,000s. They don't necessarily like exercise, but that doesn't mean that you should give up on it. You should just be patient and socialize them. Potential dental issues after 8 years old. This can be very tough for the pet, very expensive, and a bunch of other challenges that you can have as well. There's also services like FurLife Academy. FurLife Academy is where we do training using our YouTube channel. We have an FAQ bot, blog, smart health information, and preferences. We also have a click to chat function, a video vet function, a pet service locator, and other things as well. And so we've got other things like an e-store and a community, but we're not focusing on those kind of right now. Happy to show you after if you'd like. So our prototype steps summary, we started with simple sketches and a storyboard. We got that idea across. We quickly moved to a more sophisticated prototype to elevate feedback, and ideas will come to you as you build and get feedback, by the way. It's very difficult once you stop talking. It's very different once you stop talking about it and start building it. It's really exciting. And then simple screens for some future, we did some simple screens for some potential future functions like community and store in order to gauge interest. So now we're testing. We want to see what people really think about our idea. We want to refine and flesh out the details based on customer input. It's an interactive stage to get feedback. We're looking to see if they think it solves the problem and using the prototype to interactively learn this. We're trying to get feedback on the prototype from customers. We're looking for quotes. And in this exercise, the judging is a test cycle. So this is a learning card. So in the learning card, you can first of all, you start with a hypothesis. We believe that. So in our case, young, modern, inexperienced pet owners will appreciate the concept of a guided journey with research, choices, and nudging to help them prepare for the new pet, etc. And so we observed that they did, that they really liked that the information cited scientific references and was both educational and light. They're surprised at the sheer volume of information available and realized they hadn't even thought of 10% of the things they had to consider in the first 6 months. They also liked that it continued past those 6 months. So we found that this customer segment enjoys and expects great technology and information, and they want to be all-star pet parents and care a lot about integrating their pet into their lifestyle. So these are tremendous potential customers. And what we're going to do is give them more of the same. If we listen to them, they'll tell us exactly what they value and pay for, because that's the relationship we've been seeing. Here's an example of feedback grid for the app. It tells you what they like, what they don't like, what questions they have, and ideas. So for example, one question is, are there any functions that will help reduce the cost of veterinary bills? And one of their ideas is, how about if the online store has loyalty rewards and deep discounts for group buying? So as you can see, a great way to get feedback on that. So in our test summary, we contacted customers we talked to in the empathy step who said we would follow up with them. We could follow up with them. We used the learning card to set up what we wanted to get out of the testing, then document the results and the learnings. We used a simple feedback grid for pure app feedback. We got some great results that'll help us decide what to do next. And we also plan to test with more experienced pet owners to get their feedback as well. And that is it for the training. So now how do you use this training? So you're going to try to get all the way from your challenge statement to your solution time in like a 48-hour challenge. So yeah, 48 hours, you have to use it really well. You want to time box everything. So good and on time is better than perfect and late. You want to divide and conquer, assign roles and tasks. You want to communicate, make sure the whole team has clarity, capture everything on your whiteboard. Keep your commitments to each other, your mentor and the challenge rep. Make sure you practice and record your pitch, and we'll hit 7 minutes or less. Very important. And we have some resources for you, of course. So in this 48 hours, here's some guidelines. So on Friday night, everybody together should get into the empathize and define stage right away after you talk to your challenge rep. Spend the first couple hours doing interviews and research, and then try to frame that problem. And then the next hour, get that problem statement exactly right. And Saturday morning, what you want to do is start ideating and have, again, the team together. Spend a couple hours coming up with your best starting idea. And then split into 2 groups. So group 1 will work on the prototype, and group 2 will work on the pitch. And you should have been collecting information. Think about, as you're doing your project, collect those things. So for example, one of the things for us is there were some insights that we saw that we want to play back for the problem statement, and that collect those things as you go, things that stand out. And then Sunday, everybody back together again at Red River College Polytech, and you're going to do your pitch perfection, working with your mentor, and then you're going to practice, refine your deck, and store that PDF with Christy. And that really is it. So you can ask your guidance from your mentors, be upfront about your struggles, and establish if you can reach them outside of scheduled check-ins. How do you do that? They're not there to give you answers, by the way. They're not there to do the work for you, but they can ask you questions to help you get going. And they won't produce anything for you, but they can help set out a path forward. And also don't forget to get feedback on the prototype from the mentors and on the pitch. So the company interview, when you're preparing for that, think about that. So ask any questions you have about the challenge. Do you have any questions about that supplemental information as well? Ask questions about the industry and the company. Ask about other stakeholder groups who are affected by the challenge area, like customer support or sales. Utilize the business challenge rep as a proxy for the customer. What's the customer profile? What pains do they have? Unmet needs and goals? What surprising insights might they have? And why is solving this problem important to the company and the customer? And what if it isn't solved? In the case of Vetter, of course, they're struggling. The industry is growing and Vetter isn't growing. Vetter isn't providing the kind of service that their customers need. And the veterinarians are getting frustrated with the lack of digital services. So if they don't do something, they're going to be in serious problems. And then, of course, you know that also anyway, get the idea. And that is it. Thank you very much and good luck. And I really hope you enjoy working together and creating solutions for the companies that submitted challenges. Thank you very much.